For more on these protests and what it means for law enforcement moving forward, I want to welcome on former New York police officer Steve Kardian, who currently serves as a 2020 Trump Advisory Board member. So, Steve, right now, a lot of Democrat politicians are saying that they don't want these federal agents in their cities, most of which are being ravaged by rioting and looting on a continual basis. President Trump says that he wants to continue doing so in order to quell this unrest. What do you think of that move?
The mayors don't have the jurisdictional direction to be able to tell the president not to have federal law enforcement there. After I retired from the police department, I worked for the DOJ and the U.S. Marshals. They're a great group of guys. They will, with the Department of Homeland Security and other federal agencies, continue to protect those properties. It's their duty, it's the law, and it's what's going to happen.
And do you think that this is the right move in response to the type of unrest that we are seeing? Of course, in Portland, it's been happening for 54 consecutive days. I mean, that number is amazing to even think about. The idea that the DHS has recorded examples of rioting and looting. Our viewers can go look them up themselves. Do you think that this is an action that maybe should have happened a little bit earlier when, of course, the president was threatening to use the National Guard or the military in order to stop some of the initial demonstrations?
Unfortunately, they haven't gotten the job done. The president, the feds are going to get their part of the job done. It should be left up to the states, the local mayors, the governors, to enforce the local laws there. That's what they're there for. But they have failed miserably. You can't have law and order without law enforcement being able to do their job. And they're being told to stand down and let those that are looting and those that are rioting to continue to do so.
And Steve, I do want to focus on the police at the state level as well, because, I mean, they're at a time right now where it's a thankless job. I mean, they're essentially right now being asked to go out and patrol the streets against people who essentially don't think that they should even exist from I guess, a professional perspective. So when it comes to these police officers, I know that you're one yourself. We hear it from different people at different departments across the country. What does low morale for police mean for these communities?
Well, I've said it for many, many years, Alex, that if you restrict the police officers too far with unreasonable recommendations, they're going to shut down. They're not going to be a proactive police department at all. They're going to be reactive. In other words, they're going to respond to their calls. They're going to wait in their cars until they get a call. You have an 888 case, you have somebody breaking into your house, they're going to be there. But they're not going to be proactive. They're not going to be looking for guns and drugs and so on and so forth.
And right now we see, for example, that there are some demonstrations taking place. I can't emphasize enough, 54 consecutive days of unrest in the city of Portland, which is something that's pretty remarkable. But it's been almost 2 months since the death of George Floyd. And now we see that legislation on Capitol Hill is essentially stalled. We see that these demonstrations are continuing. We see that some local cities are even considering defunding or reimagining the police forces in their communities. What do you think this looks like on the other side? Are we going to have a more reinvented police force? Is that the side that's going to prevail?
There's no essence to the defunding of the police. I've never seen a police department do better with less officers. Should America defund their police departments, you're going to look like Chicago. You're going to look like New York City. You're going to look like Portland, Oregon. And it's going to be horrific until the people realize and come to their senses. They don't know what they're getting into. Again, no law and order without law enforcement.
No, and I think that it's kind of a ironic type of slogan, if you will, because what these people are calling for, these activists who do want to defund the police, that's only one part of this argument. I can't stress that enough, is that they want to take resources away from police, but then reinvest it in other parts of the community. And that's something that it can't unilaterally be done. Oftentimes you do need a state legislature or something to follow through on those types of merits. But it's something that even goes beyond the immediate. Are you concerned that police aren't going to sign up for the force or are going to start retiring in large numbers and these communities are going to be left dealing with the aftermath?
Yeah, we see it in New York City already, Alex. The retirement rate is up over 400% for New York City officers. Officers don't want to risk their homes, their livelihood, their pensions for something that's totally unreasonable. So you're also going to see a lesser quality being attracted to the police departments across the nation. So therefore, you're going to get a less quality police officer. Like, for example, again, New York City, they now allow e-felonies. That means that some of these guys getting on the police department can have gun arrests on their record.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty remarkable, and it's something that isn't necessarily thought through. I mean, we talk about the few bad apples, and of course, we should take action against those individuals too, but as soon as you're getting rid of the good apples, if you will, the qualified individuals who got into this profession for all the right reasons, as soon as they don't want to be on the force anymore, you're exactly right. You have to start picking from the bottom of the barrel people who may otherwise not be on the force to begin with, people who don't have the qualifications or the temperament, whatever it may be, and that serves a disservice to the people of that community, and it always ends up affecting minority populations and immigrant populations when you pull out the police from those communities. I think you're exactly right to say that. But Steve Kardian, I appreciate you coming on, breaking down this idea of police reforms for us. Thank you.